On today's show, after a slow start, the Nets are overachieving again under Jordi Fernandez. I'll tell you why Brooklyn hit a home run hiring Fernandez and how their rookies can stand to benefit right now.
You are Locked On Nets, your daily Brooklyn Nets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in to Locked On Nets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Now the number one sports podcast network. It's your team, the Brooklyn Nets, every single day. I'm Erik Slater, Brooklyn Nets beat reporter for ClutchPoints.com. Thank you for making me your first listen of the day. This show is 100% free on all those great platforms. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And on today's episode, I'm going to be diving into the Nets' turnaround over the last month, outlining how Jordi Fernandez is overachieving once again and why his coaching ability bodes well for Brooklyn's rookies. And right now, we got a very special guest on the show today, Tim Capstraw, longtime analyst for the Nets radio broadcast. And Capper, we got a loaded show today. We're going to hit on a bunch of stuff involving the Nets, involving their recent success and somewhat of a turnaround. And the first thing I want to hit on is Jordi Fernandez, because one of my top takeaways from early this season is that the Nets have a keeper in Jordi Fernandez, which was pretty clear last year. But this early season turnaround, I feel like he's really solidifying himself as a very good coach in the NBA in my eyes. And that's a big deal, for a Nets team that made 9 coaching changes in 13 years before hiring Jordi. And we all know, obviously, they had the 0-7 start. It looked pretty ugly. But I think it's fair to say that the Nets are overachieving again now. If you throw away that 0-7 start, they're 6-10 over the last 16 games. They're 6-7 in games that Michael Porter Jr. plays during that span, so pretty much 500. And a lot of people come in and ask me, last season and this, Erik, the Nets are winning more games. I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Some of them are worried about the draft lottery odds. To say, what's going on? How are they winning these games? And the answer I usually give is Jordi Fernandez is doing a heck of a job as the head coach. So we'll get into the specifics, but overall, what you see from Jordi on the court, what you see from how he communicates with players, any conversations that you've had with him, just what sticks out about Jordi Fernandez and his overall approach and philosophy.
Well, first of all, I couldn't agree with you more. But I got to say, I listen to you every day. You got every day, but I listen to you at 1.25 or 1.5. So and I just get all pumped up as I'm walking my dog, I get all jacked up. And so it seems strange to hear you speaking right now at your normal cadence. It's because I get a lot of information in a short period of time. I don't miss a show. So
I appreciate that.
I'm a little fired up right now. First of all, I couldn't agree with you more. I thought Jordi Fernandez was a hell of a coach last year. I think he is just terrific. And what he's proven this year is really, really impressive. What he's done with these guys to see where they're at and to get them playing at a significantly higher level in this short period of time. Man, I'm blown away by it. I think he's a great mix of being a player's coach and he's really demanding. I think he takes nothing from any of these guys. And I think he comes on the press conferences after and he's nice and he's polite and, he's all that and he's not showing off or anything like that. But I think behind closed doors, when it needs to be done, he does it in his way. He'll sit guys when he doesn't think they're competing at a high enough level. He'll adjust defensively when he needs to and put different guys out on the floor. I've just been really blown away. I know we're going to get into him later. And what he's been able to do with Michael Porter Jr. in particular and make him this all-around offensive threat. I had him for years as a guy at the three-point line, chucking it for the Denver Nuggets, right? And just, okay, he's got talent, but he's on a good team, and I don't know what the heck they're getting. Yeah, and he cuts for baskets, but who wouldn't if you're playing with Jokic? You saw him early this season. You're saying, well, boy, he chucks it. Boy, he can make a lot of them. Takes a lot of dribbles. He can shoot over people because he's 6'10". But is that really a great basketball player? The evolution of his game through the offensive coaching of this organization led by Jordi Fernandez has blown me away. The different actions they run and the different reads that he gets are so intelligent, so smart, and not that technically, or not that to the point where they're impossible to learn. It's simple, but it's smart, and it's read and react, and there's options. You'll see, how often does Michael Porter get the ball in his hands after he set a back screen, or a player is curled around him to set a screen? Then he gets the handoff. There's always the actions prior that set him up to really work well with Claxton and all that I am just blown away with. I love the sequencing of it. I love the freedom. I always call basketball a jazz concert where, you got a little bit, you got structure, but you're allowed to have some freedom within it. And I just think, again, that leads to the great coaching that we're witnessing, with Jordi Fernandez. Sorry, I got off on a tangent, but I'm a little pumped up. You got me pumped up about it.
No, I'm glad we got Capper pumped up, early
That's
on.
Not hard to do. Well, you know what it is? Getting onto this, it was such an adventure for me that I got the volume working on our whatever setup here that I'm all pumped up about it.
Yeah, we got an early win there. We were trying to get on for about a half hour, and when we finally broke through, Capper, he screamed so loud his dog got a little startled. But now that we got you into it,
I thought I got hurt, all this other stuff. I was so, because you've got to know your audience, right? When you're broadcasting, when you're writing and all this, and you've got to know your audience when you're setting up, a Zoom or whatever social media call. And if the guys in my age group start slow, baby, keep it simple. Like we said about Jordi Fernandez, right? He keep it simple, but then give him some freedom. Okay, so you're the coach.
We started slow, and now I think we're rolling, and we're getting into the offense with Jordi Fernandez, and that was the first thing that I wanted to hit on, because coming into the year, the Nets were obviously viewed as this team that is going to be one of the worst teams in the league, and a lot of that had to do with their lack of on-ball creation. They have all rookie point guards, and you look on it, I said that too. I said, look, the Nets have no on-ball creation really outside of Cam Thomas entering the season. There's no way that this team is going to be able to generate offense consistently. And then Cam Thomas goes out, and there's a bunch of people who definitely thought the Nets are doomed offensively without his shot creation. And yet, over these last 16 games, the offense has been relatively unfazed. I mean, the offensive rating is about the same. And as you said, Jordi has reconfigured this offense around Michael Porter Jr.'s off-ball movement and around Nick Claxton's playmaking as a half-court hub. And MPJ, I did have an episode on it early this week. He's playing at an all-star level right now. Like, I know the Nets are one of the worst teams in the league record-wise, so he's probably not going to get that kind of recognition, but he's averaging over 28 points per game on, 51% from the field and 42% from three over his last 13 appearances. And then you add in Nick Claxton, he's averaging over five assists per game over the last month, and he's at nearly a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. So those numbers, like the assist-to-turnover stuff, is up there with Jokic and some of those guys. So what has stuck out to you most about the connection that those two guys have been able to generate? Because that's really been what has fueled this Nets offense.
Well, you said it. First of all, I think it's a great call you made, but you said, well, there's not an on-ball creator that can just break down a defense. Well, the flow of the offense, though, breaks down the defense right now. The flow of the reading and the action and the screens and what they call twirl. And they run a lot of what's known as Bilbao action, which is from Bilbao, Spain, which is interesting, where Jordi's from, where there's a lot of curling off screen. And just the intricate movement and reading gives them a lot of freedom. But you're right. It ends up with a lot of center action with Claxton, which is interesting because you're talking about a guy who, is Coach Sabonis, he's Coach Jokic, and now he's turned Claxton, who has skill to do these things, into a really, really, really interesting creator. What I like about it is that, yes, Claxton's making a lot of plays, and Michael Porter Jr. is the recipient, getting a lot of handoffs, making some decisions. But isn't it cool when you're seeing Michael Porter Jr. get excited about hooking back up Nick Claxton when he turns the corner, makes the big commit, throws it up, gets the dunk, makes different plays like that? That's the evolution of this relationship that is really cool to see. Claxton is really good though. It's, we say, well, it just hands the ball off or he doesn't. No, his dribbling ability and his angles are excellent. It's been a while. He doesn't get called on many hip screens anymore, any illegal screening with his hips. He creates angles because he can handle the basketball. He rescreens. He adjusts angles. He'll have the guys off of him and he'll pitch it sometimes. And then he'll change his angle to provide even a better look that way. But it's just nice to see those two guys. Yes, they're working with everybody, but they do have a great connection together. And I think it really exploded that one night when they beat the Celtics out there. Remember, the Nets were running kind of the same action over and over again. And it was really cool. Really, Michael Porter Jr. did all the damage then, but it was a lot of the screening of Egor. Egor was involved with Michael Porter Jr. They were curling and twirling and Bilbo and all these things I'm talking about. But then Michael Porter Jr. would get the handoff, and it was cool to see. It's a great connection. But a big part of coaching is making guys, showing what guys can do well, and then hiding what they don't do well. I never knew Michael Porter Jr. could do all these things well. I think it's great coaching. I thought Claxton had a chance, but it's great to see. And the pride that they show as far as enjoying passing the basketball, right? It gets contagious. Used to be that way with Jason Kidd. Guys would want to pass because Jason Kidd was passing. So it became like everybody, they're getting more pumped up about the passes they're making than the shots they're making.
Yeah, and I think that this just speaks to Jordi Fernandez's ability. As you said, you want to accentuate guys' strengths, you want to hide their weaknesses. Now, this is 2 seasons now where, you look at guys like last year, obviously, Cam Johnson and Dennis Schroeder, who were playing, out of their minds under Jordi Fernandez. Now we get another guy coming in Michael Porter Jr., and it just seems like Jordi is able to put these guys in positions, recognize what their skill sets are, and put them into positions where he's maximizing their skill sets. And for a Nets team that obviously is going to be welcoming a lot of new guys into the mix in the coming years, I think that is just very encouraging for the fan base offensively. Now, talking defensively briefly before we go to a quick break, the Nets defense over the first 7 games was pretty embarrassing. And I think Jordi was getting visibly frustrated, and it was really weighing on him. I mean, he said it after the 0-6 start that he felt like he was failing the team. And since these last 16 games, after the 0-7 start, the Nets defensive rating has improved almost 13 points. And it really looks like 2 different teams. And I think I've touched on, I think Cam Thomas not being in the lineup has played a role in that. But overall, this team's just playing way harder, and I think is way more committed and also a little bit more in sync with this aggressive scheme that Jordi is trying to implement. So what has stood out to you most about the defensive change that the Nets have made? Because that's frankly been driving a lot of their recent success.
Yeah, no, you're on it. You're totally on it. Noah Clowney coming into the lineup made a difference, and not just collectively. They then became a big front line. You had, so that certainly helped. The rebounding was helped through that. They've stayed pretty aggressive with their defense. They want to pick up, have extended pickup points, point of attack defense. They want to be into the ball. They want to get after it. I think it's they're playing at the level pretty much on pick and roll, though they're starting to switch more now. Recently, I just think Jordi didn't give in. He didn't give in. When it was bad in the beginning, I'm thinking to myself, what are they doing staying that aggressive with their defense? They're not capable of doing this. Well, he didn't give in. He stayed aggressive with it. And then we've also seen when guys haven't played to the level as far as their ability, we've seen him sit guys. We've seen him sit guys that were known to be elite defenders because I know he knew they had more in them, that they were electric defensively last year with the deflection. I don't want to point out guys, but I think guys I'm talking about, or one guy in particular. Hey, he's capable of more. He can defend at a higher level. I need him so aggressive. That's his superpower. That would be the word he would use, right? And I think he's demanding. I think the lineup certainly had something to do with it. I think when you start executing better on one end and the ball moves on one end. It's funny how you defend a little better on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
The game is really connected. I think there's periods of time. I think it's a little bit of everything. Again, just a great feel for your team, understanding the needs and holding people accountable. But I think it's that combination of these different things that have really elevated their defense.
And there's a lot of players on this Nets team who the fans are obviously, there's been a lot of anticipation of how they would perform. The rookies, you have guys like Noah Clowney, young guys. And I think that Jordi Fernandez and what he's been able to do with this team and some of the things that some of these guys are showing developmentally, it bodes very well for the Nets' future. So what is that? What should fans be looking for from Jordi Fernandez and some of these younger guys moving forward? We'll get into all that after a quick break. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when seats opens, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. Guys, you pull up the app and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Guys, new year, new systems, and this is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of running a business and think there has to be a better way, and there is. Today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business communications. If you're ready to make your workday smoother and keep customers connected without the headaches, Quo makes upgrading your setup easier than ever. A streamlined system makes such a big difference when communicating with customers. Having calls, texts, and voicemails in one clean view keeps everything organized and helps you stay responsive. And being able to share one team number makes it so much easier to make sure nothing gets missed. So make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free plus 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo. No missed calls. No missed customers. All right, coming back from the break, got Tim Capstraw on the show. And Tim, we spoke about Jordi Fernandez and his ability to get the most out of a lot of these guys. And I want to talk about the younger guys, the rookies, but I want to start with Noah Clowney because I think, for a Nets team that is placing obviously a premium on development over these coming years, they have 5 rookie first-round picks, NBA record. How those guys are able to develop is going to determine a lot for the Nets, next decade of Nets basketball. And Noah Clowney is not one of those rookies, but he's a younger guy, and he has taken a leap this season, especially offensively, that I frankly did not see coming, and I think is a big feather in the cap right now of Jordi Fernandez and this Nets player development staff. I mean, just the steps that Noah Clowney has made offensively as a driver of the basketball after in his first 2 seasons, really was barely able to do anything off script outside of shooting on the 3-point line. And this year he's turned into a highly efficient driver. So the way that he's developed, that would excite me if I were a Nets fan with a team that has 5 rookies and then has another potential high pick coming in this season, this coming season. So before we get into the rookies, just Noah Clowney, his development, what has stood out to you and how much has that, really surprised you, what he's been able to do?
Yeah, no, I think, remember his rookie year, the last 10 games, he was terrific. So there was a lot expected of him last year. I just think, I think he made some improvements, but injuries got in his way last year, right? Those ankles were a problem last year. I didn't know. I kind of forgot about it a little bit. I'm with you. And I think he's kind of showing everybody what he's all about, the completeness of how he can play the game. Close to 6'9", 6'10", long, shoots it well, but when you can shoot it well, then you can maybe have angles to drive it. He's built up his body. He handles the ball better than most guys his size, and he's got an aggressive attitude about him. That is the biggest key, right? I thought times last year he's a spectator out. You don't want to be, I want him in the mix. I want him doing, man, I think he's believing in himself. I think he's got great confidence. He's playing with physicality. And I think he then provides a lesson for us all that when you're drafting 19-year-old players and 18-year-old players, don't be too quick to evaluate them. Be careful. Be careful. Give it a couple of years. Trust these people that are working with these guys. They really know what they're doing. They see the future. I think Noah Clowney just teaches us a real lesson in that. There are a lot of rookies that are 19 and 20 and all that. And give them a couple of years. Give them a couple. They're good. You like what you see now, but it's what they can be, and can they be that? There's no guarantees on that either. But I think Noah Clowney it reminds us to be a little patient. And the thing about Clowney right now is I think he's got more room for growth. I think he can be better. And I think he's rapidly improving. I love his aggression. I love him taking to the basket. I like the idea, get fouled, get to the free throw line. He can convert free throws. It's beautiful to watch. I think he can be a rangy defender. I think he's improved. Their defense is better because of his rim protection at times out there along that front line of the Nets. It has some length. They rebound better. It's Michael Porter Jr. then moves. I don't know what you call a 3 or a 4. Doesn't even matter. But it's a better lineup defensively, and his offense is just been great to watch.
Yeah, and I think that point that you made about patience is going to be really important for this Nets fan base, because they obviously have the 5 rookie first-round picks, and this is just, it seems like the era of kind of like instant gratification. Everybody wants everything right away right now, and there's some guys at the top of the draft, whether you talk about a Cooper Flagg or a Dylan Harper, whoever, that are a little bit further along. But a lot of these Nets rookies have shown a lot of promise, and I do think that there's going to be some growing pains, and the fan base is going to have to be patient. But given what the Nets player development staff has done with Noah Clowney, I would be encouraged. But I want to get into some of those Nets rookies. And obviously, Egor Demin is the headline. And I think that my opinion on Egor, while there's been some ups and some downs, I think this is pretty good, relative to what you would have expected for a start from a rookie his age who's doing the kind of things that he's expected to do as really one of the lone Nets point guards on this team. The three-point shooting has been a big sigh of relief, I think, for all Nets fans, because that was a big question mark coming in, and he shot it at a really high level. And then after that slow start, not attempting a 2-point field goal in his first 5 games, he started to ramp up the aggressiveness, and we've seen glimpses of him getting downhill in the pick and roll, using his shot fake to draw defenders out and drive. So that's all been good. But I do want to see more consistency with it, because it seems like we had like that one game against Boston where he had 3 or 4 really nice drives to the basket in the first half and things along those lines. Like, he shows those flashes. And then there's other games where it seems like he's more of a bystander. So I've been encouraged by Egor, but I want to see some more from him, and I think that he will be able to give some more.
Yeah, no, well, what they always say, progress is not a straight line. It's just not going to be like that. You're going to see in first several games, you didn't see anything. Then you saw something, and it goes up and down. I am intrigued by him a lot, because his instincts to me are really impressive. I think that how quick he sees guys open is impressive to me. That's something that you're kind of instinctively born with. I think he sees plays ahead sees a play ahead all the time. His vision is great, but he's got to be able to get there, and it's going to take some time. And his body will change a lot in the next couple of years. You got to watch his body change. And I think he can be a point guard, but he can just be a guard, right? I think he's just a guard out there. I think he's got fundamentals. He's got some flair. He's got weaknesses. Obviously, he can get picked on defensively. They'll try to go around him. They'll also try to go through him a lot. I don't know if you noticed. They like to just go right at his body. So right now he can't even chest people, right? The body will change dramatically. He's got an amazing attitude, a great approach, and a great instinctual feel for the game. And I think the Nets guessed right that he was a good shooter, that he can be a very good shooter. Now, and I don't think they guess right. I think they understand who they can really correct and who they can't. in shooting. And I think they saw enough of him to say, hey, what do you think? Yeah, a little flaw here, a little there. We can correct that. I've noticed that already with some of these rookie players, that there have been subtle adjustments in their shooting form since even arriving here with the Nets. So it's interesting to me what they'll be able to do over a couple of years, and the building them up, gaining the confidence, getting the feel. And the beauty of it is they're getting reps right now. They're getting real reps out on the floor. And I think Egor is a great example, because you're going to see some good, some real good, then you'll see some bad, but then you're going to see some of it. But I like watching the little things. Like when he sees the ball sees a guy open on the other side of the floor. Right now, he really sees open three-point shooters really well, and he finds them all over the floor. You want him to be able to be powerful enough to break down so he could really utilize his passing ability in all areas of the floor, draw the defense, make some things happen, and then defensively get bigger, stronger, faster, all the things that, that I'm sure the coaching staff will try to bring out in him. I think he's got a lot to work with. I think he's really interesting. I think that about a lot of the guys.
Yeah, I think you made a couple really good points there. The first about the body, like that. I think people, fans discount how important that's going to be for a guy like Egor, who's 19 and is coming into the league with a little bit of a slighter frame. And I talked to Nets coaches entering the season who said, he's just going to have to get his body to a baseline where it's going to allow him to, kind of show a lot of the other gifts that he has, whether it's driving, passing, or doing all those things. And also, I talked to Jordi about, Egor has taken care of the ball, fairly well. He's been at around a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. And Jordi said the same thing that you just said, that, he's seeing the 3-point line really well. Now, the next step is, seeing the lobs and connecting on those, seeing different cutters on 45s and stuff like that. So I think that's, it's been encouraging from Egor so far, but I think those areas are areas that he still has room for growth. And I feel like the development of the body, that's going to be huge for him and serve him really well on both ends of the floor. But we got 4 other Nets rookie first-round picks, and that's really unusual for any NBA team, and especially a Nets team like this that is not used to having a surplus of young talent, especially since the move to Brooklyn. So what about those other rookies? What are we expecting from them? We'll get into all that when we close out Locked On Nets after a quick break. Guys, it's 2025, almost 2026, and those days of waiting for something to become a full-blown emergency before you see a doctor, they're over. No more walking it off for 6 months. No more pretending that weird shoulder stiffness is just sleeping wrong. It's time to take your health seriously, and ZocDoc makes that easier than ever, because staying healthy is more than hitting the gym or eating right. It's about actually getting things checked out when something feels off. Using ZocDoc makes scheduling easier. Search for in-network doctors and book right in the app. Real appointment times are listed, including same-day visits. No more back-and-forth phone calls or waiting to be seen. It's super helpful for routine checkups and those little issues you've been meaning to get checked out. So stop putting off your doctor's appointments and get the care you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Again, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, coming back from the break, closing out today's Locked On Nets episode, talking with Tim Capstraw. And Tim, we just hit on Egor, Demin. I want to just, out of the other rookie first-round picks, obviously the Nets have 4 of them, but which one of those guys outside of Egor has stood out to you the most early this season?
Oh, I guess Drake Paul and Danny Wolf, because of the way he's played lately. But you guys just did a great segment I listened to this morning on Danny Wolf. That was phenomenal. You and Lucas, it was awesome. So, but I'll talk about Drake, because I think he was maybe underutilized some in college. I feel like he's good with the ball. He can initiate offense. He looks like he belongs. We all know about his defense, his range, his feel. He's almost like you could play him almost immediately, like he was ready to go. And I like everything he's done. And again, he'll get better. He'll shoot it better. He'll shoot it faster and cleaner, and he'll handle the ball and all these things. And yet, I think instinctually and being able to, play the game or feel the game and run an offense at times when needed, he's been really, really, really good. Danny Wolf, same kind of thing, right? This has been a great revelation, right? I mean, to watch him, not really revelation. It's just cool to see that it is translating to the NBA. That, just like you guys said in yesterday's pod or whatever, that, he looks not embarrassing himself on defense. He's a good rebounder. He's got great size. He's an okay rebounder. He's got decent feet. He hasn't, but offensively, the creativity, the way you can run offense with him bringing it up or getting what they call, over handoffs or gets when you throw it to the big and then you get it back and you're playing over, and they would run action with him and he initiates offense, and you can play pick and roll with him. His shot looks really, really good. And, I see these guys and they're shooting the ball well, but I don't think it's a fluke. I think these guys I think they've gotten good work. His shot looks tighter to me. I know him in college. My daughter was at Yale with him, and I've seen him play. They've tightened up his shot too. They have people, these coaches do a good job. So, and that's why if I watch Nolan Traore and the G League, and he's shooting the ball well now, I'm saying maybe they found something there, with his ability, and maybe he's getting better. Ben Saraf, the same. He didn't, his confidence wasn't great early shooting it. We know he's strong and go to his left. Defensively, he struggled and all that, but guys get better. And this organization has not so many great coaches. And one thing that stood out to me, these coaches all move around in the NBA. I didn't know if you noticed. Nobody moved around on Jordi Fernandez. They all wanted to be here. You notice that?
Jordi's spoken about it, and he said that has been, a major strength and advantage for this Nets coaching staff, especially trying to bring along 5 rookies, is having, the continuity of the coaching staff. That's been huge for them. And I think that speaks to, Jordi, and it speaks to a commitment to what they're trying to build here. And I think that, it's very encouraging moving forward. But this is also, this is a Nets team that, as I said, is not accustomed at all to having a, surplus of rookie talent, especially since the move to Brooklyn. And you're a guy who, you've been here, you've seen it all, going back to the Jersey days. And what has it been like for you watching all of these Nets rookies and having all of this youth on the team for a Nets team that, they haven't had a lot of that in the past? It's fairly unusual.
No, it's a lot of fun for me. I think this part of watching the Nets or being a fan of the Nets is a fun part. I hate to say it. And maybe, if they're getting beat up every night, but it's on, Pat Riley called it the innocent climb. And I don't know, they're at that point now where they're climbing and moving up the NBA to a rapid level. But I think it's fun to watch the innocent climb of individual players and watch them try to figure it out. I think it's fun. And I know that there's real fans out there that, that listen to your pod and watch the team, and they had as much fun watching Danny Wolf putting on a show as they've watched guys in a lot of years, right? Or when Egor plays at a high level and he's doing it, or Drake Powell's hustling around the floor. There's real enjoyment there, and and again, when you feel like the process or the setup is there with the organization, led by Sean Marks and all those people and Jordi Fernandez, and to watch the coaches work with them and watch them improve. This is not like it's enjoyable to me. It's enjoyable, but I'm one of these wackos that gets there. I try to get there early and watch the coaches work out. I still like that part of it, and I'm detecting, okay, boy, this guy holds his follow through better than he did in college. This guy, his hand placement is different on the ball than it was. I like all those little things, and I like how they design their offense. And this is all the things that I wish I could go back 30 years if I was coaching and say, man, why didn't I do that? The other thing I love about the team is that, like, Jordi allows others to thrive as coaches. I think you watch during the games how different guys communicate and everybody's involved, and it doesn't seem to. He's not worried about the him being the show. It's about the result of what's going on. And again, I just think this is a fun. More fun for me, maybe, because I'm into this kind of stuff and I coached at lower levels, and it was all about, can you out evaluate people, not out recruit them? And I said, and I'm saying, boy, that's an interesting class right now, but it's fun for me to see a little bit about what they were thinking. You got guys that understand. You got 5 players here that may all understand how to play the game.
Yeah.
Might be not the most obvious thing to everybody. Maybe not all of them hit. I'm not saying all are going to be, but it's an interesting way to look at the game. And the Nets offense has not suffered because of lack of offensive talent. It's the feel for the game. It's understanding how to play the game. The NBA is constantly evolving. What's next? It's like weird to know. And again, it's just enjoyable for me to watch the entire process of everything evolving.
Yeah, and that it's going to be about the process, especially with these young guys. And as I said, I mean, this is a Nets team that is starved for homegrown talent. They've never really had a homegrown star type of guy. I mean, I threw these numbers out before the draft, but before this year, the Nets had picked in the lottery, or you can say like the top 14 for the pre-lottery days. I think the number was 27 times they had picked there, and those players have all combined for 7 All-Star appearances with the team. And Buck Williams, only Nets lottery pick to make multiple All-Star appearances with the team. So, the Nets need this. They need these young guys to develop, and they're going to have another opportunity with a high pick in this coming draft to get a guy who could potentially be a franchise centerpiece, and that is going to be the storyline moving forward. But Capper, that's all we got time for today. I appreciate you taking the time. You've been doing it for years, and you're one of the best in the business. You and Chris Carino and the Nets fans, they're all very lucky to have the Yes broadcast and to also have you guys on the radio call. So appreciate you taking the time and imparting some of your knowledge on my listeners.
Well, you keep doing what you're doing, man. I tell you all the time, if you were a stock, I'd buy you, man. And same thing with, there's the other Lucas is on all the time with you, and he's a beast. And all the Colin, all these guys are really, you're doing unbelievable work, man. And you're repping it out every day. And it's just a pleasure to listen to you at the correct speed, though. I'm just not used to it. Again, I listen to you at 1.5, and I'm jacked up, bopping around. So it was a lot of fun. Thanks for getting me on.
That does it for today's Locked On Nets. Hope you guys enjoyed the talk with Capper. If you do not already, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Nets on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Also, if you have a second right now, smash that like button, leave a comment, leave a 5-star review. Anything you can do to engage is much appreciated. But the Nets got one more day off, and they're back in action on Friday in Dallas. So I have coverage of all that and more when I'm back tomorrow talking more Brooklyn Nets basketball.